Hello, you speakers. I'm George.
And I'm Javier.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of You Speak English. Wow, Javier, I can't believe we have come this far. 86 episodes. This means nearly 2 years. And just a little thing I gotta tell you guys. Katza will be back next week. She is still recovering. We do miss you a lot, Katza, and as well as our audience out there. A speedy recovery for you, Katza. So, about today's episode, we'll be looking at some common idioms.
Yeah, George, time flies when you're having fun, isn't it? 2 years almost with this podcast, and we've enjoyed it all the way. One thing we're going to enjoy also is one of my favorite aspects to teach is idiomatic expressions, idioms. And yes, they're considered advanced, so you got to learn them. So stay tuned. Today we're learning all possible uses for these phrasal verbs. Welcome to another episode of the You Speak English podcast. Thank you for hitting that play button and subscribing to our podcast channel. Remember, you can download the script for this podcast. The link is in the description box below. So take it away, George.
Right. Yes. Okay, guys. So today's phrasal verb is call off. Call off. So the meaning of this phrasal verb is to cancel something like a meeting or a scheduled event. Okay, now here's an example. They had to call off the game because of the heavy rain, or the meeting has been called off. They'll let us know when it will be rescheduled.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So that was an easy one, right, guys? So let's get into the nitty-gritty of the podcast. Idioms. All right. So I'm going to read to you the official definition. Let's see how good you're at deciphering, this kind of vocabulary. An idiom is a phrase or expression that has a meaning that can't be deciphered by defining the individual words. It is an expression in the usage of a language that is peculiar to its either in having a meaning that cannot be derived from the conjoined meanings of its elements, such as up in the air for undecided, or in its grammatically atypical use of words, such as giveaway. The word idiom is derived from the ancient Greek word idioma, which means peculiar phraseology. Oh my God, I even had a hard time reading that. Okay, so everybody out there, in layman's words, that means in easier words, an idiom or an idiomatic expression is a combination of two or more words that its meaning has a completely different meaning from the individual words that compose that idiom. I hope that second definition was a lot more understandable than that other one that sounded, I don't know, for the ones that saw the movie The Matrix, one of the Matrix movies, when there's the architect explaining about the Matrix, it was, I felt like that. I was like, what? It's just too advanced for me, all that kind of, vocabulary.
Mumbo jumbo.
Mumbo jumbo.
All right, let's go to idiom number 1, by the book. Definition: doing something by the book means following established rules, guidelines, or procedures strictly and precisely. Examples: our company always conducts clinical trials for new kidney treatment drugs by the book to ensure regulatory compliance. 2, the pharmaceutical industry demands that all drug manufacturing processes be done by the book to maintain products' quality and safety. 3, the compliance with FDA regulations is essential. So companies need to ensure everything is done by the book to avoid legal issues.
You know who's going to get in our case, Javier, for not doing things by the book in this podcast?
Well, this is not a book. It's more like an outline. So
I know, but we're, by the book is not doing things as, they were intended. So, or in a manual.
Well,
Katza, if you're listening to this one, sorry, we're not doing it by the book. Okay, forgive us.
George made me do it, Katza.
Yeah, we'll toe the line next time. All right, guys. Idiom number 2, ballpark figure. Ball, yes, as in ball, park, figure. Okay.
Like as in baseball or football?
Yeah, like a baseball park. And Javier has a very interesting explanation about this idiom. But first, let me give you the official one. Definition: a rough estimate or approximation of a number, usually used when precise details are not available or necessary. And here are some examples. Number one, we need to provide the client with a ballpark figure for the project's cost before we finalize the budget. Number two, I can give you a ballpark figure of how many units we might sell, but for exact projections, we'll need more data. And the last one, the CEO asked for a ballpark figure on the potential revenue increase if we expand into the European market. So remember, ballpark figure, an approximation, an approximate number. Javier has something to tell you about this word ballpark figure, right, Javier?
Well, actually, a ballpark refers to like a football field, game, or stadium, and it really refers to like the idea of general number. Okay, example could be, so if I say, George, how much money can one spend to travel to Europe? And George says, well, it's a lot of money, you know. Well, I don't know. Just give me a ballpark. Sometimes people will even say, just give me a ballpark. But don't say the full phrase, ballpark figure. And it's completely self-explanatory and understood. By the way, it is used a lot. If you actually Google it, it's used very often.
All right.
Next one, to tighten one's belt.
Yes.
Definition is to reduce spending or cut costs in order to save money, especially during challenging financial times. Examples. Number one, due to the economic downturn, the company had to tighten its belt and implement cost-saving measures. Two, in time of economic uncertainty, individuals often need to tighten their belt and prioritize essential expenses. Three, our department needs to tighten its belt this quarter to meet our budget goals. What do you think?
Javier, I don't know if you've, you and I, we've been teaching in different companies for many years, but in my experience, even if companies are not going through a recession, even if they're doing well, I don't know why, but they're always in this tighten one's belts, mode. There's always that, right?
It's
Cost
always
reduction,
that
cost saving.
This is a new term that I learned, new buzzword I learned recently in companies. It's not a downsize, it's a right sizing. Have you heard the word? It's not downsizing, it's right sizing. Oh my God. Don't you just love language?
Yeah, tell that to the one that lost the job, right?
The job. Well, George,
that ain't right.
We're not letting you go. You're just not for this. You're not suitable for this endeavor.
It's funny, isn't it, Javier? Over the years, how these words have been changing. In the beginning, the one of the words I remember is that we're re-engineering. We're re-engineering the structure. Okay, I get it, and it all comes down to the same. Okay, and then some other word I heard is we're restructuring, and then right now you said this, right? We're what? Right sizing,
not downsizing.
Okay, we're right sizing. We're making it more efficient, or whatever word. It all comes down to the same. Someone's gonna lose their jobs, right?
Yeah, but isn't it great? Like how can you rearrange words? Like nobody's old; they're now just senior citizens. I love that, right? You're a senior citizen.
There's always a way of making the ugly sound nice,
right? It's like you're not constipated anymore. You have occasional irregularity. Isn't that nice? Just one
beautiful,
beautiful. Just love it. Okay, next one.
Yeah. It's not you're fired. It's we're gonna have to let you go.
We're gonna have to let you go. Okay. So
all right, let me go. Are you holding my hand or what?
You're holding me all this time. Oh, no wonder I couldn't go.
Wow. Okay, guys. Idiom number 4, blue collar. All right. Definition: relating to manual or industrial work, typically involving physical labor and skills, as opposed to white collar or office work. Okay, so we have two types of workers, right, Javier? The blue collar workers, the workforce, the ones that are actually doing, the physical labor in the factory. And then we have the white collars, the ones that are in the office, okay? And Javier also has a story about this, but first, let me give you the examples, okay? So number 1, the company is known for its strong blue collar workforce who are skilled in manufacturing and production. Number 2, Blue-collar workers play a vital role in keeping the manufacturing sector running smoothly. And last but not least, we should appreciate the dedication and the hard work of our blue-collar employees who ensure our products are of high quality. Have you ever had something about the blue collar? There's a story behind this, right?
Yes, actually, if you first of all, you guys to understand that collar is that part on your shirt that goes around your neck. So that part of your shirt, this is the collar. If you're actually watching me on YouTube, so this actually started in the early 1900s, late 1800s, when people that where the shirt used to be that the collar could be detached. Remember that? It was held back here with a little button. And if you actually saw the cartoon with the collar would just spring out like that. Remember that? So people had to wash the collar separately. Of course, that takes time and money. You know, somebody else had to do it for you, or they'll ruin the collar, which meant that people having a white collar meant that you had money and power. Still, nowadays, people that wear a white collar, particularly the white part of your shirt around the wrist, have you seen people that are like top class lawyers? You know, and that's a sign of power. That means I can have my shirts, you know, pressed and cleaned by somebody else, as opposed to like a blue shirt. A blue shirt doesn't get dirty very quickly, you know. Even if it does get dirty, it doesn't look so bad. If you actually seen like people that work in production lines, they have a blue outfit generally. Have you noticed that, George?
Yeah.
Usually
made out of denim, right?
Yeah, it made out of denim, so that's why denim is blue. Because if it gets dirty, it doesn't look that bad, you know.
Awesome,
so you have to wash your pants every single day. I mean, you probably should, but maybe in the 1800s, it would not be a good idea.
You know what, Javier? Let's consider this the fun fact of today's episode. What you just said.
There you go. There you go.
So remember, the idioms we went over today are: number 1, by the book; 2, ballpark figure; 3, tighten one's belt; and 4, blue collar. All right, Javier, do you have any recommendations, any suggestions for our listeners?
No, just practice, and use them. You know, these are fun facts, and the expressions are really, really cool. Pick one that you like. That's the way I started doing it. I really enjoy using the ballpark expression. Yeah. So how much did you pay for your new car? I don't recall. You know, trying to avoid the question. Just give me a ballpark figure. 30
Why
grand,
would you want to know?
Huh?
And you know, that's interesting what you mentioned, Javier. That's a very, you know, another fun fact or a cultural fact. You know, we're very it's common in Mexico that people for some reason need to know how much someone paid for a car, how much or for anything, right? How much did you pay for that? How much? It's always a how much. And only if it's, you know, somebody close in your family, it's okay. I mean, and at least, you know, with the people and Americans that I know, and when I lived in the U.S., that is not a thing. You know, it's not right to ask, you know, how much did you pay for that? It's just, you know, it's like it's unnecessary to mention. You would never really ask those questions.
Not really, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's a cultural aspect. You know, I asked somebody in my last job, American guy, and he mentioned that, well, Americans tend to live on credit a lot. So they might just go over their income. So if you say, you know, I bought something that's pretty expensive and then your income is this much, it looks awkward. So they don't like to admit
it's like everybody else in the world right now. We're living
pretty
beyond
much, right? Living on that credit card.
Yeah, beyond our means. Okay, well, and also I cannot insist enough, use the new vocabulary as soon as possible. Otherwise, you'll forget.
Use it or lose it.
Yeah, awesome. Javier?
All right. Well, that's all for today, guys. And a big thank you to everyone who tuned in. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider subscribing to our channel and sharing it with your friends. We also have a YouTube channel where you can find the video version of this podcast and see how good looking we are. We would love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to have a comment on our videos. Additionally, we have a website where you can find articles about practicing and learning English. You can also find us on social media under @USPK English, which is the one with the yellow logo. We're active on all platforms except for X and Threads, but we'll be there soon.
And remember, perfect practice
makes perfect.
All right, guys, until next time.
All right, see you then.